What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's the day after Thanksgiving here in Central Texas, and we're going to work on something that I bet you thought I forgot about. The old John Deere. Now, in the last video, I said that we were going to try and rebuild the old carburetor. But after I took it off and looked at it, I figured it was just better to get a new one. This one I got for $20-something, I think, on eBay. Brand new. It looks identical to the old one. So we're going to throw this carburetor on and see if this is all we need to fix our curb-fine John Deere here. All right, so these have an O-ring that seal it right here. This O-ring is going to go right on the inside, just like so. Now, to make it a little easier, if you have some wheel bearing grease or something like that, you can toss right here and it'll help that stick right there. We're going to see if we can do it without it. All right, so to get in here, I like to have my socket already on an extension. This is a 3/8 socket. That's going to get your carburetor bolts right there. Make sure this backing plate is aligned to where the throat of the carburetor goes into the intake. All right, so we'll go ahead and start our second bolt here. That's what I mean by being aligned right there. I was up slightly on one side, so I just pushed it down. If it's not starting, just push it down like I did, and it should get you where you need to be. All right, started. Use your extension. I'm using an extension with a 3/8 drive ratchet. You should have plenty of clearance to get in there. Now, one thing that I totally forgot to mention, and it's very important, is to put your throttle arm back on. So we're going to pull this carburetor back off and put the throttle arm back on, because that's, like I said, a little bit of an important part. All right, so in this case, we can just move it to the side a little bit. Maybe not. All right, so here's your throttle arm, and it's going to go through this hole right here on the top. And what it does, it literally just pulls it just like that. So basically just like that. There you go. So the end of the rod is bent, so just tilt the carburetor to where it's a straight fit on the bent arm, or the bent part of that arm, and just kind of thread it through halfway up. There we go. Now let's go ahead and tighten everything down. So really easy. All that connects this to the engine is 2 bolts, so I'm tightening it up now, and this throttle arm, which you just tilt the carburetor to the side, slide the throttle arm in, and it doesn't go in very far, and then it just kind of pivots on that, so that way it can pull the throttle open, close the throttle, pull it open, close the throttle. All right, now what we're going to do is, just since we're running this right now for test purposes, we're going to just thread this through there and set this on top, because we need this. This is our fuel tank. Actually, I'm going to put a few bolts in it. I have a few of the bolts right here. We'll just go ahead and mount them to the top so we don't have to worry about it moving around. Safety first. Now these are all pretty much set up just like the Quantum engines. Like on the first couple lawnmower videos I had, those are Briggs and Stratton Quantum. These are pretty much on the same platform as far as how the tank mounts, how the engine looks. Even the carburetors are pretty much the same. It's just that this has an overhead valve train. Got our handy dandy Craftsman here. We're going to set the torque on really light because I don't want to strip these or break the plastic. There we go. There we go. Now we'll go ahead and reinstall our fuel line. And this is just for testing purposes. When it comes down to it, I will replace all this fuel line. But like I said, we're just going to see if we can get a locked up engine that we found on the curb to run for $20 or less. What we're doing right now is tightening down the clamp for the fuel line to the carburetor so we don't have any leaks. I usually like to use a nut driver for this, but this'll do. All right, y'all getting excited yet? All right, now this is the fun part. Let's put the fuel in it. Oh, we're getting close. And this fuel tank I did clean out numerous times with water and all that good stuff. And just so you know, this thing's been sitting around for months. I haven't started it, I haven't ran it since the last video I did on it, which was 8-9 months ago, something like that, maybe. So this tank did have time to dry out. Always be careful when you're rinsing something out with water, like a gas tank, that you don't just put it back on, because you'll never get all that water out. Leave the cap off and let it air out on its own. All right, y'all, that's all we're gonna do to it before we try and start it. So without further ado, let's pull the cord and see what happens. Let's see if this engine's locked up, first of all. All right, here we go. This particular model has no primer on it or anything. So we're just gonna go for it and see what happens. It may do absolutely nothing and may kick off. It's not locked up. All right, this is a trick for choking a engine. Just put your hand over the outside. Yep, we're getting fuel in there. This thing is just purring. That's just absolutely crazy. This thing was locked up on the side of the curb. Somebody didn't want it because they thought the engine was done. We freed it up, put a $20 new carburetor on it, and I don't even think it was that much, to be honest. And this thing runs perfect. There's no smoke whatsoever. No hesitation, no surging. I mean, it just runs. See if it'll fire back up as easy as it started. Guys, this is a prime example right here. These things are easy to work on. If you have a problem with it, if something's not going right, or if it's just not starting, 9 times out of 10, it's very easily fixed. Even if you think you're having major problems, such as a locked up engine, this goes to show that even that can just be a simple fix. Maybe the interior of this motor, it's probably not like a new one, no, but will it last a lot of hours? Absolutely, I believe so. One other thing I would probably do to this, if I was going to keep it, adjust the valves right here on the front, because those that can make a huge difference in it running. You see, this one didn't even bog down. The grass is, at the point where it needs to be cut. Didn't bog down one bit. That tells me compression's really good. And everything is fine with the interior of this motor. There's no weird noises, no knocks. So what I'm going to do is change the oil on this, adjust the valves, give it a new spark plug, and that'll be it. One other thing that it needs, as you saw when I was going around here, the self-propel system is a little it's a little weak. It's more like a assist, because it helped when I pulled the bottom bale on this to when I went in the grass. I could tell that it pushed a little easier, because without pulling the bale, it was hard to push. But the self-propelled system definitely needs some work on this. So all that's going to be is pull this bottom piece off right here and see what's going on with the belt, adjust the tension or whatever it might need. Pretty simple stuff. I did forget to mention that the locking and unlock mechanism on these is still stuck, and I've been oiling it a lot. So it's stuck in the lock position, which is better in my opinion. It's still 100% usable. All right, so this is just going to be a little 2-part series. This is going to be the last video on this. We got it running. Real easy to do. Well, like you can see, you can do it yourself. It doesn't take much time or much money for that matter, and you have a perfectly good running lawnmower again without spending a bunch of money. Thank y'all so much for sticking along on this one. I'm sorry it was a long time in between, but we have the truck over here to my right, and that boat back there is something that took a while too. So stick around, we're gonna have a lot more to come. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you liked what you saw. Also hit the like button too. So thank you again so much for watching, and we'll see y'all soon.